You ready?
Yep, I'm ready.
What are the chances you're going to remember?
I think you're good.
0.
I think you're good.
And we're back. Here I am, Fly Navarro with Fly Zone Fishing. I'm here with my man Dan from Shimano. Dan, we've gone over the problems you can have with reels, but the biggest thing is preventative maintenance.
That's right.
And if you practice proper preventative maintenance, you won't have to troubleshoot all your other problems.
That's right.
So we have a Tiagra here that you've already pulled apart.
Yep.
In your yearly schedule, what are the things that you want to do?
Well, as far as what we do or for the customer? So the basic stuff.
What's the best thing that you think, whether it's shipping it to you and then when you do the yearly maintenance?
Well, either way, you want to do a full annual maintenance, what we call.
Okay.
So a full annual maintenance is going to be tearing down the reel, cleaning it, removing all the old grease, cleaning any salt or sand or anything that's in the reel, clean all that out, and then you're going to start over.
Okay.
So using the correct grease on the correct components and putting the grease in the right spots. We see a lot of people that just think, oh, it's going in salt water, I need to put a bunch of grease on it. And so they just pack the reel with grease or cover things that don't need to be covered, and all they're doing is just creating points for either salt to get trapped in or making the reel feel sluggish.
Okay.
So there's kind of a little bit of a blend of what you need to do. So on this Tiagra, basically, you can see there's some old sand and stuff that kind of collected in the grease, and bearing's still nice and clean, but you want to clean all that off of there.
Okay.
All the old grease. And you're going to put just a light layer of grease over the top of that bearing, helps protect it against corrosion. You're going to put grease on the gears.
Is it the same grease that goes on both?
In this reel, yeah.
Okay.
So same grease on both. You want to put a little bit on the clicker plunger, because that plunger moves in and out.
Okay.
So you want to make sure that moves nice and free, it doesn't rust.
And let's show the front side of the camera so people understand. This is the side with the reel handle.
Yes.
And the lever drag.
Yes, that's the lever, your pinion bearing, your drag cam, gears, 2-speed mechanism, all that stuff is housed on that side.
Okay.
So very simple. On the frame side, you've got another bearing in the side plate right there, and you've got your anti-reverse pawls. So same thing, you want to clean all that off, clean off any old grease, re-lubricate it, light grease on the pawls, a little light grease on the bearing. That's it.
Okay.
Make sure everything's clean. So you want to clean all this salt and stuff off the foot.
And corrosion and stuff.
Any stuff that's on the bottom. Good time to clean your clamp hardware, stuff like that. Put a little bit of light grease on the clamp hardware. It keeps it from getting all salted up
Would you
and
use the
corroded.
same grease? Or?
You can. I mean, we recommend our grease. We've got 14 different types of grease. So best thing to do is if you're not 100% sure, customer can call us.
Okay.
Call our customer service and we'll tell you, okay, you need ACE 0 for this, you need ACE 2 for that, you need DG 16 for this. Like I said, we've got several different types of grease. Those are all just numbers to you and most people.
But not to you.
Not to me and not to the engineers that developed all that stuff.
Okay.
So they're all have different applications, they're for different things. So on the spool.
And now that spool comes, this piece is set in there.
So this sits in here, and the way a lever drag works is the spool actually slides back and forth in the frame.
Okay.
So when you pull the lever, on this one it actually pushes the spool. On some of our other reels it actually pulls the spool.
Okay.
Because your drag is right here. So when you push the spool, this is kind of exaggerated, but you can see the drag slides on the spool shaft. So you're pushing it
to create more friction.
Exactly. So the more you push on it, the more friction. It's kind of like pushing your brake pedal a little harder on your vehicle.
Okay.
Similar thing. So the drag itself takes grease. We run a wet drag or a grease drag on most of our reels, excluding TLD single speed.
Now this drag plate right here, what's this made out of?
So this is a woven carbon material.
Okay.
I don't know the specifics, and even if I did, I probably couldn't tell you exactly what it is.
Listen, the last thing I want you to do is tell me something that you're going to have to make the world forget about.
Yeah. So, but that requires grease, and then this actually can stay clean. You don't need a whole lot of grease in here.
As long as it's just cleaned out.
Yeah, so this is your actual drag plate. This is the contact surface for the drag washer.
Okay.
So this is actually steel, and then you have an aluminum spool. So
Okay.
aluminum dissipates heat, it's lighter weight, so you get the benefits of all that. So you can see this one's got a little bit of salt and dirt. This reel was probably submerged or something bad happened to it. It's not common to find that in this reel, but obviously it's in for service, so there was a problem with it. The other spot is the clicker plate. So as you know, you've been out marlin fishing, and captain's up in the tower trying to listen to the clicker and kind of knows what's going on. So clicker performance is important. So our clicker plates, we run grease. So the grease helps keep them from wearing, helps stop corrosion.
Okay.
So you're going to want to wipe off all this old grease and reapply.
All right.
And you can pull apart the spool and get into the bearings if they need it and re-lubricate the bearings. Typically, you don't have to do it on annual maintenance. It depends on the reel. Each reel is a little different. So this one, since water and stuff got inside, I would pull it apart, flush out the bearings, or replace them depending on what's needed. So this one still feels pretty good.
Nice. Now, if you were going to, at what point would you replace the drag washer?
Well, on a Tiagra, for example, very rare for that drag washer to wear out. So this situation, because it's so embedded with salt and sand, that I would replace it.
Okay.
Because it's really hard to get it all out. It's more cost effective and time effective just to go ahead and replace it. Drag washers aren't that much, $20, $30, $40 maybe for a 130 washer.
Okay.
So at that point, it's just worth it. Start fresh. You know the performance is going to be there. You're not worried about a piece of sand you might have missed that's going to embed itself into here and make noise or cause drag spikes or weird issues. So, especially in a reel like this. Typically, you're tournament fishing, money's on the line.
I want good
You want
equipment.
it working, right?
Exactly.
So you're not going to screw around with taking a risk over a $40 part that may cost you $1 million. So
Absolutely.
that's how I look at it. And you got to understand that from the customer's perspective.
That's how I look at it.
So, but that's your basic maintenance, at least on a Tiagra.
Okay.
Not a whole lot involved, as you can see. They're kind of big and they're intimidating until you open them up, and then you see there's not that many parts.
Kind of like you?
Yeah.
Big and intimidating?
Yeah.
Really?
I got a few more parts than a Tiagra, I think.
Yeah, but once you pull it all apart, you're not that bad.
Yeah, no, not at all. So, depends. Some ex-girlfriends may say something different.
Lord have mercy, I don't want to know. I don't want to know. And on that, thanks for joining us here in the Fly Zone.